Luca Nation, you guys are in for a treat today. So, welcome back to Lucas Tigers and Bronzo My. We have your PWCC weekly episode where it's kind of like Andrew's watch list, Cage's watch list. You guys know I'm much more in the modern game basketball, soccer, football. Cage brings you guys plays watch list items from vintage, type 1, all over the map. So, I'm really excited about today's show. I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different items that.
This is going to be a long episode. I have 9. So
right.
17.
And what I'm excited about most is the items kind of dovetail into some questions I have for you. A quick note, if you guys haven't listened, we have Cajun Cardboard episodes going live on our channel all week long. Check him out. It's Cajun. He has a buddy who he played basketball with growing up. Actually is played in college at a very high level and has the record for three-pointers in that conference. So they talk basketball, NBA. Cajun is a huge 90s Michael Jeffrey Jordan collector. So ton of value there for you guys. Make sure to tune in. So I'll take a breath. How you doing today, my
Good, man. You're selling the network a little short. I mean, it's a cool combination of all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, you got obviously Cajun brings in the 90s basketball stuff. You know, you bring in a little bit of everything from crypto to, you know, entrepreneurial behavior, overall market stuff. You're, you know, the yin to my yang. I try to talk about a little vintage over here, a little bit of, you know, I did a little Muhammad Ali post today, a 62-year-old type 1 photo. And, you know, Monday, we'll be releasing the second episode of Black Jaded Wolf Uncaged, where we talk about card shows. We're going to talk about a recap of Chantilly, what she's doing, what she sees in the market. I'm sure I don't know if every 2 weeks we can expect record sale price announcements from her every single time, but she's got a couple topics she wants to bring in also. So, guys, you know, please, if there's anything you want to hear about from, you know, Black Jaded Wolf as well, from, you know, running a storefront, going to shows, send us some DMs, and I can ask her during the show as well.
For her, like that episode, it wasn't even about the record sale for me. It was the 6-0, 7-0 lesson when it comes to NFL quarterbacks. It's one of those things where she says it, and then I go and research, and I'm like, does it pass the sniff test, right?
Yep, 100%. It brings a boatload of credibility, man. Listen, I'm going to spend 2 minutes, what's top of mind, and then we'll go into the cards and stuff like that, and you say, oh, you know, we bring value.
You were 22.
2. It's going to be 2.
Okay.
The world, it is a-changing. And this won't come as any surprise to you, but it is. Let me just tell you about what I've done today, right? Today, I watched YouTube with Ian. Instead of watching television, instead of watching Bloomberg Channel or the news or a show, I watched YouTube. And he had some guy who went to 5 NBA games in like 3 days. He started with LA. It was the Clippers against the Lakers, and then he went to Detroit, and during these games, he has to like answer 3 questions or something, like challenges, find a fan, you know, get someone to high five him, and that will be an upgrade to his tickets the next time. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm watching this, but this is television now. It's not like there's no commercials. I mean, there are little ads. It's just the world is very different. But stick with me here. I asked Ian, I said, would you like to do this? And he's like, yeah, of course I'd want to go to basketball games. You know, the guy's running to the airplane. He's, you know, hey, I'm in Denver. It's snow on the ground now. I'm back in LA. It's gorgeous. I'm in Phoenix. How could the Suns lose to the Jazz? I mean, it's like a hilarious thing, right? And he's like, oh, he's a YouTuber. He does all this all the time. He's 3 games, and if a flight gets delayed, it's all crazy. He goes nuts. His name is like Jesper or I don't know, Japer. Everybody knows him. People want to take pictures with him. His videos have millions of views, and this is the world. And it didn't really sink in until this happened. I ordered my Chick-fil-A for dinner, so of course you can tell I'm in a damn good mood. And the home phone's ringing. They want to see who we're voting for. And, you know, I mean, it's a typical night in my house. I take Ian outside, and there's oodles of kids around. You know, he's the youngest. He's the smallest. There's all kinds of kids, you know, elementary, junior high, middle school, high school, you know, all ages talking about Halloween parties. What are they being? A whole deal. And then this is the conversation. On the day where I post about Anderson Silva and how he's probably going to make more money now fighting Jake Paul than probably his whole UFC contracts combined, they're all talking about what's the best flavor of Prime, because it's so much better than Gatorade. And I'm like, what? And one kid's like, yeah, artificial flavors and the high school kid's like, None of this matters. We're all buying it because it's Logan Paul's drink. And I had to take a step back for a second and think to myself, how is this going to impact my life? Is my daughter going to go to college? Will there be something in lieu of college? Will this new world take over here? Influencers, Jake Paul and Anderson Silva. I mean, and I went to the vitamin store and I bought a 12-pack of Prime. This way, Ian isn't the only kid on the block who doesn't have the Logan Paul swill.
So what do you think?
Well, we haven't tried it yet. I don't want to drink it warm. But the guys in the store were snickering at me a little bit because we only were able to buy the lemon lime because every other flavor was sold out. Allegedly, the grape.
That's the best flavor. Lemon lime is easily the best.
So we got lemon lime. I think the kids were all saying grape tastes a little bit like cough syrup. So they like it. They can make like scissor out of it, lean.
These are middle school kids?
Yeah, some of them are actually younger than that. I got my wife with that one. She's laughing.
Do you think the median's changed, but what we do is the exact same thing? Like we've always bought from radio, we've always bought from TV, and now it's just a new median. But
I don't know, dude. It was really. I was like, "What the hell is going on here?" I'm like, I felt very old. I'll tell you, I felt very old for a minute, and I'm like, "This is just it's things are changing." Right, but I guess you're right. The more things change, the more they potentially stay the same. It's just, hey, where are we getting our content from? And that content is driving us as consumers.
Well, right? Content is the top of the funnel, right? Like Kevin O'Leary always says, if we're going business, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. Like, so on Shark Tank, if you guys watch it, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, talks about how customer acquisition cost is always too high for most businesses. The reason why most businesses go out of business is customer acquisition is higher than lifetime value. What it costs to acquire a customer is more than you could make on one, basically. Well, when you have content, Logan Paul doesn't have to pay anything for marketing because he's created such engaging stuff, right? His brother's created such engaging stuff that he doesn't have to pay $1 for marketing, and he gets the return. It's just a good business decision.
I mean, so what I take from it is I want to be more engaging because I want, where the content? I want to be the purple flavor. I want to be the scissor.
I will say, I see where you're going with this. I think about this a lot, but I think about it from the standpoint of how much people love huge numbers in today's day and age versus for me, I care. Like today, Cage, I looked at our numbers, but I looked at different numbers. I looked at our retention. And like we have hour-long episodes, and I'm like, when did people drop off? And specifically, YouTube shows you the moments that they drop off. People listen to the end. 65% of people listen for the whole episode. And listen to this number. 87% of people listen to more than half.
87% is good. It's better than like 50.
87%.
That's a big number.
Insane. In a generation where you lose attention like that, how many podcasts do you guys start and don't listen to? So
I mean, most of the people who are listening to that question and answering it, they listen to 87% of them listen to the whole thing. I mean, 50% of the time it works all the time.
But it gave you, it was like a full circle moment for you. Like you feel like we're on the right path. Is that what it was?
Yeah. Well, it was that. It was almost like a realization that people are, they're informing their consuming decisions in a different way than the way that I learned how to do it. But it shouldn't be such a surprising thing, right? When I remember when I was a kid watching, Saturday cartoons, I'm sure my parents looked at it and were like, shit, now I'm going to be stuck buying that He-Man toy because I plopped him in front of the television for a half an hour to watch the He-Man show, so he was out of my hair, and now I'm going to have to buy
Dexter's Lab, Flintstones.
I don't even know what Dexter's Lab is.
Cartoon Network.
I know what the Flintstones are, but no, man. When I was a kid, it was still 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, and 11, and 13. I mean, like when I was a kid, it was network television.
Those are channels.
Yes. Yeah. Those are channels. Yeah, and commercials and black and white TVs. Yeah. I mean, as I got older, more channels came, and then in Staten Island, you knew a guy who knew a guy who had a box that you put on top of your television that got every channel, even the ones the kids weren't supposed to watch. That was a dawning of a new age there, my friend. Talk about influencing. And the cards.
I would do this all day because I kind of want to go into, I don't know if our audience has watched Antonio Brown on Patrick Bet-David. So what was interesting about that interview?
This is another perfect example.
What was interesting about that interview, and by the way, I think that there's a new model where people get paid to be on podcasts now, like 10 to 20K appearance fees, but we'll get away from that for a second. Have you ever been like, when you watch the show, and he's obviously just out there, but I actually disagreed with a lot of the comments. A lot of the comments were like, this guy's crazy, man. Kudos to Patrick Bet-David for keeping this thing on track. Antonio Brown has a weird communication style, but I actually found myself agreeing with him at points in that episode.
That doesn't surprise me, and it doesn't surprise 87% of our listeners.
And that's interesting. Like the comments, it's always interesting, like the siloed response from people, right?
Yep.
Because that's his audience, right? So, and he curated that audience, and because it got weird at points, right? Like it was like a very awkward interview at times, right? But that's Antonio Brown's sort of style. So just interesting. I recommend you guys go listen to it. I do. You won't learn much.
Well, that's valuable. Listen, sometimes the learning is in, how to do it, how to steer an interview. You don't have to learn that. You keep a lunatic on track every day. So you and Patrick Bet-David have that in common.
I actually thought PBD lost control of it a little bit, man.
Really?
Yeah.
At one
time he left, and they were like,
Really?
we have an hour left. Like, what do you want to do here?
If nothing else, at least just put it on mute.
Well, he's like, I can sit here quietly. This is not a big deal for me. I come from the army. We could do this easily. No, but like some points were really interesting. They were asking about Kanye, and he's like, how do you want me to speak on Kanye? Like, I don't know what goes through his mind.
That's pretty interesting. Listen, I think what you're touching on is what people are going on. I was listening to ESPN today talk about what Aaron Rodgers said on the Pat McAfee show. So think about that for a second, right? I'm watching traditional media on ESPN, and they're feeding me what happened on a podcast.
Well,
pretty crazy, right?
I think because podcasts give you more real shit. Like, I think with traditional media, there's only so much you could say. Like, Marshawn's like, he curses and he's like, oh, shit, my bad, right? Where people on kind of this new media, they're able to let loose. So let's get into the show, yes?
Yes. I also will say this. As I was scrolling through the channels the other day, there was pickleball on television.
This pickleball thing's really bothering you. You know what the buy-in for a pickleball team is?
In what league? Like a professional pickleball league?
Yeah.
Like the league? What's the buy-in?
Did
you look this up?
Well, no. So after Antonio Brown, even though these episodes came out in different order, they had the Entourage creator Doug Elin on the podcast, and he wanted to get into a pickleball team. He said it cost $1 million. $1
million. But before Durant and Brady got in, it was only $50,000.
Is that right?
No, but it wouldn't surprise me. All right, what cards do you want to talk about?
They're pumping and dump, but no one cares if you pump and dump rich people.
No one cares. Except the rich people.
Tongue in cheek. So I have a few topics here. We'll get into your cards. The first thing I wanted you to start with is there's two cards where, and you guys are going to see this all the time, but this is the PSA 10 versus BGS 9.5 versus PSA 9 discrepancy. Two cards that's happening, and it's crazy what's happening with Weekly is that there's a Jordan BGS 9.5.
Okay, we're going to have overlap. That's number one on my list.
That was not a weekly card when Weekly started on PWCC a little bit ago, but that's sitting at $30K, I believe.
Yeah, $29.5 plus buyer's premium, I think, right now.
Right. Yep. So you have that card into 10 is, let's call $150K plus. We guys know we all know that card. Then you have a BGS 9.5 sitting at $30K. But then on the heels of it, there's also a PSA 9 in this auction. So I'll start there, but there's a second card. It's the Jeter SP foil in a PSA 9, which also checks that box. There's just this huge gap between a 9, a BGS 9.5, and a 10. So I know you're unprepared, putting you on the spot, but how do you...
Unprepared?
Well, what do you think about those gaps between those two?
So it's a bunch of things, right? So that 9.5, right?
And I didn't mean I'm prepared for the show.
You mean to answer this specific question?
Yes.
But this is the crux of it, right? This is... you have a BGS 9.5, which not all 9.5s are the same, right? And I think this one here will have some premium because I'm not mistaken, it's all 9.5s plus a 10. I think it's 3.9. So I mean, nice 10. You would think that this card has a legitimate chance to potentially cross over if all things are being equal and we're being objective. And I think that probably helps it sell for more. However, what's funny is if you just crack this out and send it to PSA, it could be a PSA 9. Because there is no mid-grade. There is no Mint Plus like SGC has a 9.5, right? There is no grade in between there. It's a 10 or a 9. And what's the 9 at?
13.
Right? 13, right? So obviously those numbers are going to change, but clearly 9.5. So not prepared. The cynic in me would say that this is being sold as a 9.5 because someone already tried to make it a 10 and failed. The cynic towards that cynic would say, just because you failed once doesn't mean you're going to fail every time. So
you think people cross it or you think people crack it?
I think you gotta crack it. I mean, I do. I don't think not that you have a great % chance in it working out for you either way. But I think cracking it and submitting it, you have a better chance. I do.
I'll tell you, this is one of those things where, for me as like a newer entrant to the hobby, it's never made sense, but it is what it is. I think in a weird way, it's kind of the dick measuring competition of the hobby. Is some cards that are iconic, and where I'm interested to see where the Jeter SP foil falls in that iconic PWCC list. And where the Jordan Fleer falls up, it's you guys love your PSA 10s of these cards.
So, I mean, listen, forget about you guys love your PSA 10s, right? Okay? I'm going to give you the option to own. I'm going to do it a different way.
Please.
I'm going to give you 3 suitcases.
Please.
And those 3 suitcases, you get to pick one.
Yes.
In one suitcase is $15,000.
Yes.
In the other suitcase is $40,000. And in the third suitcase is $180,000. Which one are you taking?
You're such an idiot. Which
one are you taking?
From Along Came Polly, and
you're taking $180,000. Okay. Now, all of a sudden, it's cards. Okay. I'm going to give you a suitcase that you open up, and it has a PSA 9 Michael Jordan 86 Fleer in it, and you look at it, and it is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Next to that, you open up the second suitcase, and there is a BGS 9.5 with 10 corners and 3 9.5 other subgrades on it, and it is gorgeous. It looks the same as the 9. It looks the same as the 9.
Yes.
They look the same.
Yes.
Identical. And you open up the third case, and it is a PSA 10 Michael Jordan that looks identical. Identical. Like Mr. Come on, you remember? No, it's like My Cousin Vinny there,
Dennis
right?
the Menace, yes.
No, not Dennis the Menace. It's from My Cousin Vinny. So all 3 cards are identical. The only difference in these 3 cards
is the plastic.
The plastic surrounding it.
Yes.
You're going to take the 9.5? You're going to take the 9? Which one are you going to take?
Well, I think that's not the right scenario. I think it's
No, it's the perfect scenario.
It's 10 9s.
No, it's not. It's not 10 9s. All the cards
you
are
could buy
exactly
10 9s for the price of 110.
You're making a point that you don't understand because it's dick measuring, right? But that's not what it is. These plastic cases come with them a monetary value. Now, if you want to go a third way, would you rather have 10 PSA 9s or 1 PSA 10
or 4 BGS 9s?
That's fine. Which one would you rather have? Now, this is a fair question because
it's super fair. Can we ask that to the audience and they let us know in the comments?
But why that's a fair question is because those are all the same value. So you should get different answers. You're giving something that all 3 cases have the same exact value. It's like me asking you whether or not you want case A, B, or C. They each have $180,000 cash in it. That's a preference. It's depending upon which case you like better. The one was in a Samsonite. But the reason why It's not, oh, wow, the PSA 10. The PSA 10 has been assigned a value. It has a value for secondary trading. Now, if you're not planning on selling the card, all right, fine. Then you're a weirdo. I mean, a collector. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. And look, in a perfect world, I would surge high and low for that BGS 9.5, that SGC 10, that Jordan that's nicer than the PSA 10, and buy it for 20 grand or 25 or 30 and pocket the $150,000 extra and say mine's just as nice. But unfortunately,
but it will always be in the back of your mind knowing it's not.
Do you know who does this kind of stuff?
Tell me.
People who park next to their neighbor who own a Bentley get out of their really nice blacked out Kia and say, my car is just as nice as theirs.
You're such a dick. We got like 5 compliments in Atlantic City. There was a Bentley there. No, he never complimented the Bentley. He complimented us. I asked this question because it comes up time and time again. I just bought a Beam Team Jordan card, a PSA 9, fresh slab, lighthouse label, clean copy. Corners were perfect, well centered. $450 for a 9. A 10 right now is in this auction is sitting at $4,000. So it comes up time and time again. I wanted to do you guys the respect to have this conversation live on the air.
It is a valid and valuable conversation because there are collectors out there who would just want to have the card. 100%.
And it just sometimes they look so nice in a 9. And you're like, Jesus Christ, some of these 10s are not. But anyway, we won't beat a dead horse. Let me.
No, this one's really nice, though. Let's just make sure this is a nice one.
Before, I'm really excited about my next topic after this. Okay. But I want to popcorn one.
You took number 1 from mine, so I'm hoping I take number 2 from yours.
You won't. No way.
I'm a huge fan of this card. All right, rarer than the silver, colored team match in a BGS 10. Your guy, Giannis, 2013 Prism Green in BGS 10. I mean, normally green, not so sought after. I like it with Tatum. I like it with Giannis. It is a nice card because it's a color match, the green. These 2013s, there's just not a lot of these things out there. And, if you're going to go with a Giannis card from 2013 Prism, BGS 10, there's a time that the silvers were selling in PSA 10 for more than what this thing is bid at now, and there's 10 of them. There's 10 BGS 10s. So anyway,
this is color match copy.
It's just a nice card. It's a really nice card. So,
what do you think about Giannis, man? I'll tell you. I've been watching the Bucks. If you guys remember last year, Brook Lopez came into the season. He was injured. He had back surgery. And we talked about every player needs an interest, like a specific roster to work with. And what makes Giannis so good is when he has Brook Lopez next to them. So they are insane on the rebounding side of the ball.
What do I think about Giannis?
Just real quick.
Yeah.
Now that Brook Lopez is back, you'll see the Bucks are 4-0. They're destroying people on the rebound on the glass. It's been the best start I've seen for Giannis. And I think last year's slow start, this year he's starting really fast. He's averaging 35 points a game.
The only person who's off to a better start than him is Luka, who's averaging 36 with basically a triple-double, 9 and 9. The only person that had a better start. But I don't love Giannis, and I'll tell you why. And it's a stupid
as an investment
reason.
Or a player?
As a player, and here's why. I believe he travels and commits an offensive foul on almost every possession. I do. So that's, and like I say, it's stupid. Remember, obviously the refs are not calling it. Obviously they're allowing him to do this, which is why he puts up 35 points and puts up his rebounds and the whole deal. But he legitimately travels. Oh, Luka's traveling a lot too, so don't get me wrong. There's a lot of travel.
Jordan Poole.
Maybe Jordan Poole. Maybe change the rules a little bit. But he legit, he puts his elbows in. He puts his shoulders down. It's funny. I watched a game the other day, and they were saying Giannis playing bully ball. No, Giannis he's fouling people. He is running people over. And right now, the league is allowing it. So he's probably going to put up some really great numbers this year. This is a personal statement on Giannis, right? I'm not an NBA referee, but the way he plays basketball is very similar to the way Derrick Henry plays football.
Jesus Christ. That's such an exaggeration. Anyway, let me bring you guys back. This is a weekly episode. This is something you guys don't see often.
Yep.
This might blow your socks off. So there are 18. You heard me right. 18 PSA 10 LeBron Galactics in this auction. 18 PSA 10 Cage LeBron Revolution Galactic.
It's a good
Fuck
Beastie
those
Boys
stuff.
song.
Like LeBron Galactic?
Intergalactic.
I apologize. 17. Here's 15 and 14 and 19. Let me.
I like
rephrase.
these Galactics.
And what's interesting, guys, is the prices are all over the map. So you'll see I'm sharing my screen here on YouTube, but for you guys listening, they're all pop 1, pop 7,
right?
Really, really low.
The base ones, like that one there, the 2017, will sell for more than the insert ones. That's why the things are all over the map. So see, like that's a by the numbers like subset, and that's a showstoppers, which is a really nice card.
2016 first year of Revolution Galactic? Revolution?
I think so. Yeah,
I'm assuming because
that was Optic. That was the big expansion.
Yeah. The big ticket item, guys, is the 2016. I think it's the first year Revolution. It's a pop 7 LeBron. It's sitting at $2,800. But if you guys just search LeBron Galactic, you'll have some fun. There's 15 of these cards from 2016 to 2019 from the base.
Lift off. That's cool.
To the inserts. It's insane. You're going to be able to get some opportunities here. Some of these are sitting at under $200, but it's a really cool case hit that a lot of people don't talk about. So
I'm going to tee one up for you, right? Because you have some inside information into this.
Yes, the Alcaraz card. That's what you want to ask me about.
Relationship with this is like those like things that are going on with like Putin and stuff like that.
Ovechkin.
The 05 Upper Deck the Cup limited logos Ovechkin rookie patch auto out of 50. It's a BGS 8 with a 9 auto. BGS, there's only 2 graded higher than this. We got to throw some hockey into the equation here. It is game used. You don't see these at auction that often. It's a huge card for Ovechkin collectors. But you and I had the luxury of going to Virginia this past weekend, and Ovechkin was like the talk of the show because he never signs, right? And also he was getting death threats. What was going on with that?
What do you
mean? I want you to give the behind the scenes.
Because of the Russia-Ukraine war.
Oh, all right. I thought there was something more to it than that. I thought there was like some real, like you were involved, like you were there with security, like you were getting like the backstory. He ran out of Panini.
You know how like they add the letter A to something and it means non in like the Latin language? I'm apolitical.
Okay.
I don't even understand it. It's just to me like.
So anyway, why I'm teeing up Andrew, because he was actually there for a couple of days. Ovechkin had the longest lines. Ovechkin had the most crazy fans. Ovechkin had security with him. Ovechkin was, despite the fact that you saw us taking pictures with a lot of great names and you name it, he was clearly the star of the show and was somebody who people were really getting in line for. And obviously there's a difference we all know between what you can get somebody to sign there at a show and a piece like this, which is a rookie patch auto with an actual used piece in it from someone who clearly has a pretty rabid fan base.
I'll say
What's
this,
yours? What's your next one?
I'll say this about hockey. I don't know much about it, but I know that the market for hockey never got ahead of itself, or it doesn't seem like it got ahead of itself. So to me, that feels like a safe buy, right? Like a market that gets too far ahead always corrects, versus this feels like that kind of like that, slight sloping to the right. What else do I have? There's an awesome Lamar jersey number Kaboom Gold. So something I like to do, Cage, is in the beginning of the week. So you get the opportunity to preview like a week in advance on PWCC, and then they go live. I think it's Wednesday night or Thursday, so it's 10-day auction. Something I love to do is go through it the first second it or the first day it gets launched, and favorite all the ones I like, and come back on a Saturday and see how they perform, and like filter high to low, and like it's a cool way to, because it filters my market. So this one was one I looked at. It's a PSA 9 gold rookie Lamar Kaboom jersey number. So it's sitting at like 7,500. Remember the optic 1 of 1 sold for like 20K. I still think, Cage, and this is one of those things, it's buy what you love versus what other people love. Say what you want, man, but Kaboom might have some lasting power. And I think it might have more legs than Optic Downtown.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
You think that's fair to say?
Yeah, I think Kaboom's definitely better than Downtown. It's just what else? Where else it's going to fall?
If you're a believer in Lamar,
Mhm.
this is the kind of item that you might be able to steal in kind of a mid-season awkward time to run this card, where you're getting a jersey number gold Lamar Kaboom. In a market like this, he's not going to finish above that Downtown because the Downtown was a PSA 10. I'm really interested to see who this goes to.
Yep.
It's a really, really, really awesome card.
I'm gonna stay in football, but I'm gonna go about as opposite from a gold Kaboom, modern quarterback as you can go in football. And this is something I was actually considering bidding on myself, but I'm now not going to because we talk about it and the whole deal. But it allows me to be a PSA 10 snob and not have to get a PSA 10 card, because this is a card I owned in PSA 8 at one point in time and actually sold to Gary V, if you remember. But this one adds a little bit of a fun wrinkle to it.
Jim Brown, right?
Do me a favor. Pull up the
one that he
tops.
autographed Rookie of the Year?
Yes.
That was one of my favorites.
So this card is gorgeous. It has a PSA 10 auto, right? So it's a perfect autograph with an inscription, Rookie of the Year 57 on his 58 tops. It's on, I believe, what could be the perfect card to get signed. It's a 6, but it's a 6 with eye appeal, right? So it's a card that, you can, I would venture to say the price that this sells for is probably going to sell for like what a 7 sells for, right? But here you are with a 6 that's got really nice centering, right? It's a gorgeous. It presents really, really well. It has that PWCC EI designation, which is top 15%, I think. Just really cool conversation piece. You got the auto on there. This guy is, one of the best to ever do it. And, I'm not a huge autograph, collector, but I started to collect autographs on cool pieces that have PSA 10 autos on them. And this checks a lot of boxes. It's just a really nice looking card. And the card itself looks nicer than a 6, right?
Sure.
I wouldn't get a 10 autographed or a 9, or even in this card, I don't think I would get an 8 autographed. This is like I would buy one of these and try to get him to sign it and hope to get a 10. You get the whole package here. It's the perfect card already picked out to get autographed, and it has the perfect autograph and the inscription on it. So this one just checked a lot of boxes for me.
We literally could not be on more of the same page with that. That was one of my favorite early in the week. I love when they add a little bit of like the Rookie of the Year. I don't know, makes it feel a little more personal. So super cool card. It's where do you think that ends?
I think it probably ends, if I had to guess, somewhere just shy of somewhere like 8 to 10 range. You know what I mean? If I had to guess.
There's worse things to buy with that money. Like I love looking at story sales and then being like, that's from 1958. That's a sought after card, and then it's autographed, and I'm like, people like buy like third tier quarterback kabooms for that much.
Pretty much.
That's a cool card.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't care about Jim Brown. A lot of people don't,
What do you? Well, you don't need a lot of people to care about that. There's not that. Like how
There's
many of those are out there?
Exactly
14 of them. And demand far exceeds supply on that card, and that's an iconic card even without an auto.
Correct. It's in the PWCC Top 100. It's an iconic card, and now you get it autographed.
PWC Top 100 is getting good. Like these last 20 are going to be really interesting. I feel like people are going to Instagram fight over them too.
A handsome guy does still make an appearance.
Another one. And another one.
Okay.
So there's a Patrick Mahomes National Treasures card, but instead of a patch, it's gloves. And I'm curious what you guys think. So I've already made it clear that Patrick Mahomes doesn't have any game-worn stuff available. And the reason that I believe that is I spoke with Spinatron, and Mahomes is a huge collector. This is what he let us know. And he keeps a lot of his stuff, so you don't see a lot of game-worn. By that process, I'll pull this card up in a second. What do you guys think of this card? It's a Patrick Mahomes rookie NT, but instead of the patch being like a jersey, player-worn or game-worn, whatever, it's his gloves, like his throwing gloves. Paige, what do you think of that? Do you think that has appeal? It's one of those things that you have the National Treasures name, but no one really wants to collect a player's glove patch cards.
I mean, I want to see it, but we've talked.
Am I sharing my screen right now?
No, you're
Not gonna
not.
pull it.
Um,
Cool. Here it is,
what's
Cage.
what's
It's with an Adidas,
so to
with a
me,
little Adidas logo on it too.
what's this numbered out of?
25.
Excuse me. So this is exactly the kind of card where you have, I don't want to call it an issue, you call it like dick measuring. You have an issue with the Jordan in a PSA 10 versus the Jordan in a BGS 9.5 that looks just as nice versus a. All right, this card is a perfect example to me of if it was the true RPA out of 99, same year, National Treasure, same product, right? If it was the
Correct.
or out of 25, it would be so much money. It would be the out of 99 would be 50 times the price of that, or 30 times the price of that, right? The eye black, right? The laundry tags, the hat piece, the glove piece, the
Are
whatever
you
else it is.
taking every single card I've recently bought and basically shitting on? Are you
No,
reverse?
I'm just sticking in National Treasures right now. I'm
Gotcha.
staying within
Oh.
National Treasures. Okay, all of them are there, but for some reason they sell for a fraction of the price. And really, what it comes down to is the demand right now is on the PSA 10. The demand right now is on the true RPA, and there are so many people who want it, and the supply doesn't reach the demand. That card, I have to be honest with you, and I'm going to say something here because it's football. It's what it is. I did not know that card existed before it showed up in this auction, because we had one we talked about like last week. It was a different card. It wasn't an Adidas patch.
Is that an opportunity or is that a detriment or both?
It depends whether I'm buying it or selling it, right? If I'm buying it, then wow, that's a great opportunity. And the story I'm going to tell is the only reason this is so cheap is people didn't know it exists. If I'm selling it, I'm going to say, yeah. I mean, you're getting it at a cheap price. Yeah, I mean, come on now. So
PWCC, you heard it here first. Any items that Cage is selling, make sure to get a selfie video of him promoting the card. Yeah,
exactly.
I'll tell you guys, all that stuff is true. Here, I'll add to this. It's one of those cards that short term, the Cage is right, the demand won't be there. Long term, if you believe, Mahomes is going to finish with 5 Super Bowls, 4 MVPs, and there's going to be so much demand for his stuff in 10 years that it will trickle over into this and you think you're getting good value, go for it. That we've seen that play itself out. 2 things that are really going for this card is Mahomes auto. For whatever reason, the way he signs, oftentimes the loops, he takes his pen off of the card. So he doesn't actually have as many 10 autos as people would realize. This is actually a really nice 10 auto. And the second thing is it's a 9.5 edges, 9.5 corners, 9.5 surface. It's just a little off-centered, which for NT cards, which are thick stock, that's a really nice grade. So it's a nice copy. It still has the gloves. Let me go popcorn to you. You said you had 9. I think we've only touched on 1.
Yep. No. My list. We've done the Jordan, the Giannis, the Ovechkin, the Jim Brown. I have a couple more though. Let me get your take on one. There is a really cool PSA 10 Kobe rookie in here. It's the 96 Topps Draft Redemption Kobe Bryant DP 13. Right? I mean, look what this card. If you could share this, look what this card looks like. And is this a card you remember? Pulling out of packs? Is this a card you remember? Because this was still in that mid 90s. I'll compare it to like the, 92, 93 year when Shaq had a Upper Deck Redemption and you were able to trade it in for that black card that we all know where he's dunking. And then in Hoops and Skybox, they had draft redemption cards where it was like, okay, card number 1, card number 2. This was draft pick. Was Kobe number 13?
Yep.
Right. So there was a card. I think you'd still find the unredeemed ones, believe it or not. And it was in packs of 96, 97 Topps, and it said NBA Draft Redemption 96 on it. It would say pick number 13 of 29. And you turn that in and you got card for whoever was pick number 13. So, what do you think of that? That card's shiny, man. Not a lot of 10s you would think on that. You have one of these in your collection?
Can I look up how many 10s there are? Because that would be the thing. I would say Kobe is tough, man. I don't love cards in this range for Kobe. This range of Kobe cards scares me a little bit. Because why that card? Like why that one, not all the other rookies that he has that are super cool that are a fraction of that in PSA 10?
I mean, I would think there's probably not a lot of them. That would be probably the key here. If I were storytelling, I would say maybe because it has that additional cool, hey, it was a redemption card. Maybe there's not as many of them because people were all trying to pull redemption card number 1. The 96 draft is a great draft, so you probably don't have a lot of that. But,
Pop
13.
68. So Pop 68, 2 auctions that PSA realized. I mean, I'm sure there's more. There's one March 21st at the heat of the market, 28,000. And then there was another sale. I guess this may probably the same serial number, May 22nd of last year, 20,000. So just to give you guys a little context, a card I'm thinking about is the Kobe NBA of 50th. That's instantly where I went, which is similar foil finish, under 70 pop. That card's been on a wild ride. But this is another card. I'm curious what the 9 would do. Like, I would be so happy with it with a really nicely centered 9 because I've graded a lot of the Kobe 50ths. I actually picked one up last week. Man, the difference between a 9 and a 10 is like one little speck maybe on that shiny foil finish.
One more hockey one. People love him or hate him. Jambalaya. 2013 Fleer Showcase. Jambalaya Wayne Gretzky at a BGS 9.5. Pop 1, none higher. Different type of jambalaya, one because it's 2013, so it's not that 96, but it's still licensed. It's got him in his Edmonton Oilers uniform. It's not a full oval. It's got the oval top, oval bottom, and it's kind of like cut on the sides. That's kind of cool. But it's it's funny. The jambalaya for hockey makes a little bit of sense because it's like a hockey puck. Right. It sort of looks a little bit like, This
is the funny stuff about the hobby where everyone's like, no one likes die cuts unless it's the die cut that everyone loves.
Correct. I just thought this was a cool one that you just don't see. It's the highest graded BGS one, and it's, because it's hockey and because obviously it's outside of his playing days. It's when I saw this, I thought it would be more money than this.
I'm curious what you guys say. Share with us in the comments. What Gretzky uniform or jersey do you think should be the most valuable? Like, in which uniform would you think that Gretzky would be the most iconic? Like, LeBron is the Cavs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne Wade is easy. It's the Heat. Like, you're not going to care about his bull stuff. But Gretzky, you have the Oilers, Edmonton.
Yeah. Edmonton.
Was that Edmonton in the blue right there?
Yeah, the Oilers. Yep, that's Edmonton Oilers. Yep, that's where he came up. That's where he played most of his career.
And he had the Rangers.
Yeah, not the Rangers. I mean, obviously he was good there, and the Kings. It was a huge story. He was out in LA, but he played for the Oilers for the first decade and change of his career. I mean, that's like he started in the 70s, so he was there for a while. Yeah. So a couple more just to wrap it up.
I'll give you one real quick, guys.
Yeah, shoot.
You're back?
Yeah, no,
there's 2 jaw cracked ices. 2 jaw cracked ices, different position. You guys know I love the crack. There's 2 different variations of it. That could go so many different directions. That could be there's 2 different variations, but two basically identical cracked ices auctioning off right now. Ending tomorrow. Now. What is happening? What is happening?
You're on mute for me. Your microphone's muted. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I hear you, brother.
Hello? Yes. Okay, good. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, I don't know what you were doing. But it was my voice. I was hearing it back to me.
Yes. Weird. Gotta love it.
Are you pranking me?
No, I believe my son put his AirPods in. So his audio showed up on my phone. I saw Ian's AirPods connected, so I had to go out and shut my Bluetooth off.
It was time for more YouTube. He needed more YouTube.
So I guess. Listen, I only have one more card, and it's one I would say be a little careful with. It's a nice card, but I think there are better versions of it, the parallels that also have come down a lot. But it's a cool card. I'm curious what you think about it. The 03 Fleer EX LeBron James PSA 10 in Gem Mint. That's the cool acetate one where he's dribbling the ball with his, I guess it's like the Cavs practice jersey on. It's not a game one, but it's There is that futures one, the one that there's numbered out of 102. That was like, a $200,000 card that recently sold for like 40 or 50 grand or something like that. It didn't sell, or even less, maybe 30 something. This is the base one that's on here. It's a really cool card. Like, it's a nice looking LeBron card, but it's already been up to 5250. I don't know what this has sold for previously. You don't see them come up, that often. But it's a cool card. I just don't know, my own personal taste on this one. I know the Jordan and Kobe EXs go for a lot. This doesn't seem. It seems like it's already sort of priced where I would expect it to end.
Yeah, it's you got a few of them here. You got the Mystique, you've got a die cut version. So these are all ending on top of each other. LeBron has so many different rookies. You have the Fleer Tradition LeBron. So it's a good market to buy LeBron stuff, if I could be honest. There's a ton of supply ending on top of each other, and he's going to be going for Kareem's record in February. Cage, let's go Phillies.
Yeah, man, Phillies.
We took down Verlander. The bats came out swinging. JT Real Muto. Castellanos has as much swag. I think he doesn't even button his shirt at all.
I watched them win the game on the Real Muto home run. And what I thought to myself as Kyle Tucker went up to make the catch was that ball was about a foot deeper than the one that Aaron Judge hit, that Tucker was able to catch at the top of the wall. And why I say that is when I make takes like sell you Jalen Hurts, and Andrew says, you know what, it makes sense because so many things happen, right? So many things happen in sports. We don't want to talk about injuries or anything like that, but think of the difference, right? It is a foot here, a foot there, 2 feet here, one bounce here, one elbow lean in that gets called as opposed to one elbow lean into a hit pitch that doesn't get called. It's just a really crazy thing, sports. Everything has to break the right way, and often the best team doesn't always win. You have a 7-game series, you like to think that the best team, gets there. But a lot of people would say the Dodgers were the best team in baseball this year, and they're watching the World Series from home. So anyway, it had me thinking. I loved watching the game. The Philly team is scrappy, man. Being down 5-0 and fighting back. it really was. It was fun to watch. It was 5-2, then it was 5-3, then it was 5-5, and you're like, look at them hit, and they're hitting doubles, and they're hitting singles, and they're hitting. They're just they put balls in play. And when you do that, good stuff happens. That lineup is tough, top to bottom. They put a good team together there. And Wheeler tonight, I can't believe the Mets let that guy go. The Mets let him go. They had like Matt Harvey and Noah Syndergaard and all these guys, DeGrom, and they thought, oh, Wheeler was expendable. And now Wheeler pitched basically like Cy Young baseball this year, would have been the ace of the Mets team. And think if the Mets still had him, would have had. Instead, now he's going out there winning.
Syndergaard too.
Yeah. Well, listen, this Phillies team, Game 1, a biggie. Going the bullpen strength on both, right? Winning that one is huge because now you have a real chance to do something tonight that will be very difficult to come back from. Because then if you're up 2-0, you go to Philly.
By Robertson, no? The cells a sweat at the end there.
So Robertson, it's funny, if my friend Al's listens to this, Robertson is Houdini. He is one of these guys that never has a clean inning, right? Because he's an ex-Yankee. And another guy who would be helpful if the Yankees.
He set up Chapman, right?
So yeah, and he never ever gets a 1-2-3, ever. But when he has 2 men on and 1 out, he always finds a way out of it. It's like he needs to work himself into trouble. He needs to have a sweat to get out of it. It's the weirdest thing in the world, but that's Robertson, man.
It was a guy second on third, and it was 3-0 count.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, this guy is just making a mess of it.
He always gets out of it. You don't want to listen. That's living dangerously, right? Because every once in a while, somebody's going to clip one on you. But
right, what did you think about Hoskins? Right,
Rhys Hoskins
not going home on the single from Bryce.
Sometimes you're careful. Sometimes you play a little careful. I say you take your chances there. I think, you test it out and you make the fielders make a perfect play to get you. But, these guys know they have analytics on everything. They know the percentages of getting thrown out. They know the speed of their players. They know how,
I think he was just jogging. I think he was
part of
jogging. Dude, but that hit by Castellanos, where he it was so out of the strike zone and he got his bat on it.
Mhm.
I think that hit opened it up because, I mean, that's just a good piece of hitting. That was a good pitch. That was a low pitch.
He was on the Reds for a while.
I love baseball because every pitch matters. Every pitch.
Yeah. I mean, I like watching that guy play meaningful baseball. You know what I mean? I like to see Bryce playing meaningful games, because some of these guys have been on bad teams. Some of these guys, they've been on teams where it's and JT Realmuto, for him to hit that home run and do that, good for him, because this is a guy who is still one of the best catchers in the game and has been for a while. Definitely one of the best offensive players in the game from a catcher position, and he. I remember the Mets. He was supposed to go to the Mets. The Mets are going to sign JT Realmuto. They need a catcher. They're going to sign JT Realmuto back when he was a free agent. And it was, he wants too much money. And the Mets passed on him. And I'll never forget this. And now, the talk is, we should have that guy. That's a guy we should have. The Mets talk radio was, we let Wheeler go. We were too cheap to sign JT Realmuto. We should be winning the World Series. It's so funny. The we should fun stuff. But it's fun to watch, man. I mean, World Series baseball, championship baseball, it is exciting because, I mean, it's like the last couple minutes in a basketball game, right? Like everything hangs on it. One pitch, one go this way, one ball out of the strike zone, one wild pitch, one you name it, and it just changes the complexion of the whole series. So it's fun to watch, and you won't have it again for 4 or 5 months. So enjoy these games while you still can.
Bye, Luca Nation.
So thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is. 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com. or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luca Nation.